Hey guys, we're back with another sponsored Zenonzard video. This time we're gonna try a couple of the different modes of play that we can do here. Those being, you know, some of the sort of like campaign style as well as like the daily special quests. So let's begin with actually getting a brief overview of the different ways to play the game. Of course, on top of the normal ranked mode, we've got your, you know, story campaign, kind of like what you'd normally expect, where you can, you know, go through and basically get some additional rewards. But we've also got a lot of different modes of play here. One of the most popular is fighting the official AI. Every day there is a daily official AI, and they're usually quite challenging. In this case, the player success rate is 47%, which, especially given that I'm using kind of like starter collections, is going to be quite the challenge, but it should be doable. Then there's quest modes and event matches. These you have to put up additional stakes in to potentially get higher rewards, but you have a lot of, you know, the kind of like effectively tickets to start them to start off. So it's just kind of like special matches that have increased rewards. And then there's Gunslinger mode, which is sort of like a gauntlet where you have to put in a token and you play until you lose. Basically, you get a reward based on your win streak, like any gauntlet mode from another game. I'm gonna go ahead and jump into the boss AI one. I'm not gonna be able to show off all the modes here, but I'll play two different ones. I'll start with the boss AI mode because that's the one that I'm most interested in. Yesterday, we encountered a Poseido deck that gave us a lot of trouble, so we're gonna go ahead and turn in some of these sort of effective quests. They're called missions here that we've been kind of like racking up and get some pack tickets to make a little bit better of a deck. We got a rare card for Kanatana. Return one of the opponent's minions to hand. We're probably going to be messing around with a different color. Let's go ahead and try to do either Aguma, which is red, or Machina, which is white. Let's base that off of literally what we find here. So we found a neutral one, Hellfire Dragon. That's actually a pretty powerful big finisher. A lot of Machina cards. And we get an Aguma rare, the Reptile Pathfinder here. Interesting. Okay, so let's go ahead and go for Aguma in this case. The Pathfinder is actually really nice there because she's actually going to be buffing all of the red or Aguma cards. We have thrown together a pretty effective Aguma aggro deck. Ooh, the success rate has actually gone down already. It's 46% now. We've thrown together an Aguma aggro deck. I think it'll actually work pretty well. I fine-tuned it a little bit, as much as of course you can before playing it too much. And I have a couple of actual interesting force choices that I haven't seen before. Now, there is this interesting mechanic where you can do an auto battle, which will basically just have your AI play for you. And you can do this a certain number of times with your like buddy hearts. But, you know, in this case, we're just going to be showing off, you know, actual normal gameplay. But if you want to, you know, go for auto, you can do that. This is going to be quite interesting. We are playing our very, very aggressive Aguma deck. We're going to try to rush them down before they're able to get their strategy online, basically, which is going to be pretty key here because their deck is almost certainly going to be better than ours. We're going to have to outplay them. We've got our forces of Cyclops as well as the, what is this one called again? Chiron, of course. So Cyclops is going to give our units plus 100 BP, and Chiron's going to reduce the cost of magic cards by 2. This is very useful because we actually run a lot of cheap magic cards in this deck. Hina right off the bat is going to suggest kicking the second one of this card, the Miner of Aguma, which I agree with. We don't need the double field unit. I'll also kick the second Direwolf. We can keep the Brush of Bats and the Velociraptor. I'm actually very down with this. Okay. Okay, so we end up getting the card back, the Fields minion, which is okay. It's not necessarily the worst thing ever to have two, but yeah, we can go ahead and put this down. And now, because our because our magic cards are discounted, we actually do have the ability to play this now. This one's kind of interesting. She basically just wants me to cycle this because, of course, the forces don't matter. And I'm actually on board with this. That's a really nice ability between Rush of Bats as well as the Force of Chiron, that if you don't want Rush of Bats on turn 1, you can just straight up cycle it.
Starting turn.
Get. And you can just get something else. I guess this is the boss AI. Okay. I'm not sure how this deck is gonna be playing. I know how I'm gonna play though. So we're gonna go ahead and get our second field unit on board, and then in this case we've got high pressure. She wants us to move her field unit to the board where we can start attacking. Yeah. 300 in charge, that one's quite interesting. Not going to change too much here. So we're just gonna go straight for it, right? We are aggro in every sense of the word, and we're just going to go directly for the main phase here. Now, we've got a lot of this special keyword, charge. What charge means is just the first turn we can attack the opponent directly. Whereas like in Zenonzard, normally you can, the turn you're played, you can attack one of the forces, but you can't attack the opponent directly on the turn you're played unless you have charge. So in every way, yeah, we're absolutely just going face. They have this card, Jelly Girl, which when destroyed, she can retrieve 1 blue magic card. Okay, that shouldn't be too threatening here. Let's go ahead and attack again. See if we can get another chip damage. They've got a flash, not too surprising. So they're gonna start slowing us down, disabling our attack by sending our unit to base. Unfortunately, not having a 2-drop is really gonna be a problem here as the aggressor. Our curve is a little sloppy. We've got a lot of 3s in hand.
Summoning high-level minion.
High-level minion. Joy of Bruna. Yeah, we actually got shafted by Joy of Bruna last time. Okay, this time we've got a lot of choices. She wants to go for the Drill Golem, which is actually just kind of like the most vanilla unit, just like playing for value. That one's interesting. Yeah, we can start with the drill unit here and see what happens. Okay, and then we can go ahead and get this mana on the field. And she wants to use this spell card and basically get extra BP and charge. That one's kind of interesting. She basically wants to just deal damage. I'm not sure how useful that is. Whereas Joy of Bruna level 1, we might actually just be able to shut this out if we, use the flash defensively. I don't want to be too aggressive here. Let's actually go ahead and pass instead before we do anything crazy. I'd rather try to kill the Joy with a high pressure so that we can start owning the board. Because owning the board is going to be the most useful thing here.
Moving to base. Target selected.
Okay. This is pretty rough. Yeah, okay, this boss AI, we might need a little bit more of a tailored deck. This is actually not something that's super easy to do with basically a starter kit, which I'm actually fine with. I enjoy a challenge, but yeah, I would probably have to basically try to build a deck to beat this on a day-to-day. Oh my god, we're getting killed really quickly. Okay, we lost super fast. So yeah, this is actually kind of cool. It's sort of like a daily challenge because it's the same deck every day. You kind of want to build you want to see what exactly they're doing with that boss deck, and then you want to maybe try to build a counter deck to try to beat it. So it's sort of like a daily deck building challenge. Because of course, if you just queue with any random thing, you're probably gonna get blown out. Alright, you know what? Let's switch it up. Let's go ahead and try one of these event matches, since these are apparently limited time. This one is, yeah, let's go ahead and choose this bottom one, 29 days left, and see what we got going on here. So, basically a little bit of story, and you've got 7 Battle Spirits cores to use to basically challenge, right? So, to challenge it, you have to pay one of your, 7 cores that you start out with, and we're gonna go ahead and see what we can do with that. It's a staked match basically, so you know, I mean, we need to try not to lose this one. The aggro game plan this time hopefully will work a little bit better. Our curve was a little awkward. It seems like aggro can go insanely fast in this game. Like, sometimes the opponent just has like 4 health on their face and you can just kill them really, really fast. So this one's actually interesting. Okay, so the event does set you up with a pre-made deck. That's actually, you know, this is my first time trying the event. Okay, so that's good. So that means that it's not like, you know, you're not gated by your collection or anything like that. This isn't, you know, the deck that I chose, so that's fine. So we've got, this one's the Machina deck. Hey, that's actually perfect. I wanted to play Machina. What a happy coincidence. So she wants to mulligan everything except for Shielded Goblin, one of the Shielded Goblins. I'd really like to keep this proactive 2-drop. This one gains plus 300 BP at the end of turn, and it's nice and defensive. We've got Chimera as well as Phoenix, good old Phoenix that we always have. And they're running Ouroboros and Cyclops. So that means they're going to be somewhat aggressive but somewhat balanced. Let's go ahead and keep the 2 as well as the 2 spell in this case. Since I'm getting the feeling from the forces that we're going to want to play this one a little bit more defensive, and this is a nice defensive spell. Okay. Got a pretty interesting start already. We've got discard at the top card of your deck, so it's sort of like a mill archetype. That's interesting. Okay. Makes sense that Thanatos would have that. So they want to basically just play down the neutral mana. I think that's fine here. And we can go ahead and put our Shielded Goblin in play. Shielded Goblin is just a nice solid defensive card. I mean, you never really attack with it since it's got 0 DP, but turn 1, 300, you can just start, like, you know, protecting your life. Like, they can't really attack into me here because of that. Yep, neutral again. I mean, there's no reason to play for the white mana here. So we've got Marlworth. Specifically, because we have this force here, Force of Fusion Chimera, we don't actually need to play the you know, the special white mana base units, because neutral mana ends up the same in this case. So she wants to attack the Ouroboros. I like that. We want to be kind of like the more controlling game plan here. And these forces on the side are really low HP. Something I actually don't think I've mentioned before is that the way the forces and the life total work is each force has an amount of health when you build with it. The life total of, you know, yourself as the player is going to be the difference between your forces total and 12. So you always have 12 total. So because my forces are both 3, that means my life is 6. Their forces are both 2, so that means their life is 8. Okay. So they're going to attack my Force of Chimera. We're just going to go ahead and flash out our 300 BP combat trick. And block with our Shielder. And we're going to want to basically just try to own the board and win this combat. This one is already going a lot better than last game. I actually like that these ones aren't... The fact that these are gated by the resource, like the token that you have to stake, I like that it's not attached to your own collection. In this case, you have like a pre-made deck. It's like a challenge mode. Makes a lot more sense. Because if it was like gated by the token, but also like you might, you know, be held back by a started collection, that would be kind of awkward. So she wants to summon the 3 mana. Looks like we can curve out as well. Yeah, that's fine. So far, her plays have actually been pretty on point this game. Usually, I disagree with her a little bit more. Maybe she's learning. Okay. Nothing too fancy is going on here. Got this little mouse coming down. But we've got the 500 BP, so we have ownership of the board. Yeah, I mean, it seems like with the Chimera Force, there's simply no reason to use the Denizen of Machias, which means the benefit of Chimera Force is that you don't actually have to put these specific color ones in your deck. That one's actually quite interesting. What that means is any deck running the Force of Fusion Chimera is probably really dependent on it. So it's probably a good one to target down because they're probably not even running these like field mana cards. Okay, so she wants to play this 6 mana Resurge. Can't say I disagree with that. 6 mana Resurge is gonna do a ton on this board here. So we can start actually getting it in pretty aggressively here. We do want to try to kill the Force. And she wants to go face in this case. That's a little aggressive. Let's go ahead and start hitting the side Force instead. Okay. She wants to end the turn. I'm going to go a little more aggressive. Let's go ahead and delete the Force of Ouroboros on the side. So this is really important. What she wanted to do was she wanted to leave this as a blocker, right? She didn't want to, you know, do anything weird here. She didn't want to tap out all the units, right? What I did instead is, I did tap all my units, but I did so to kill the Force of Eternity Ouroboros. Because of Ouroboros being dead, now, when they attack, they have to tap their units and leave them defenseless, right? So what this means is, it's true that I no longer have blockers, but if they try to attack me, they still get punished. Not in the form of me being able to block, but in them not being able to block on the preceding turn. Wait, preceding's the wrong word. The following turn. Alright. So this is actually a pretty important strategy here that I think she kind of missed out on. So she wants to, yeah, pass. I'm totally fine with this. Basically, I'm taking kind of a bit more of an aggressive route, right? I'm making sure that I have the ability to, you know, race the opponent down, and I'm totally okay if they're attacking me, as long as it means that I have the ability to attack them next turn without them having the ability to block. Okay, that's actually a pretty good draw. I like the ability to have, you know, a little bit more late game. We're approaching the turns where, you know, we can start like double playing pretty big things. So now we can play our second 6-700 Resurge, and we can even curve that out with a couple of things. In this case, she wants to go for the Megalosaurus. I'm fine with that. And now we can even curve that out with this, which is basically it's buffing our forces. In this case, it doesn't matter because our forces were at full health. But now we can be really, really aggressive, right? And in this case, I started to attack the Force on the left last time because I figured the opponent would block anyway. So I haven't actually committed any damage to the Cyclops Force yet. And now I've got a board that is looking pretty aggressive. Let's just start getting it in there. These 2 DP, these ones are actually really, really strong. So she wants to attack the Cyclops with the Mad Jaguar. I don't think that's good here, because the RA3 Crusher has Resurge, which basically gives it the ability to, you know, not tap when it attacks. And this one has 2 DP, which means we can just hit the side force with this, and then this is the one that can go for the main face, right? And it's the 2 DP one that can just kind of like hang back. We can full attack with everything, and the Resurges will entirely have the ability to just chill and give me blockers. This is actually a really powerful starter card. 6 mana, 700 BP, 2 DP with Resurge. It's like insane ownership of the board. So the flash stage, we're gonna go to the block stage. In this case, yeah, we can block with this because, you know, 2 of the units are equivalent here. We've got, the most important thing is we just leave the blocker up for the big one. Big one's attacking now, and we're gonna go ahead. Ooh, she wants to pass here. That's interesting. It's a revenge? That's fine. I don't actually mind the revenge in this case, because the most important thing is just like killing the large BP card. Making sure I don't lose ownership of the board, because even though it's like I did sacrifice a 2 DP for 1 DP, as long as I don't lose ownership of the board, I shouldn't really be able to lose. Okay. She wants to now play this. just to gain BP. That's interesting. Wait, I wonder why she wants to do this. I don't understand this at all. If it's your opponent's turn, plus 300. Does that change anything here? I mean, they don't have a blocker anyway. Let's see where she's going with this. I'm really curious. I must not be seeing something. Okay, she wants to buff this one. So why am I giving this one so much BP then? What's the point? BP is only useful if I'm engaging in opponent combat, but their only unit is small and unable to block right now. Let's see what her logic is here. I'm really curious. So now we played the Leviathan, and now we're attacking their life. Okay. Now this one's attacking. Oh, I see. Oh, it's BM. Oh my god, they really do take after their pilots. I've taught her how to BM. I've never been more proud in my life. Oh man. Now I know what a parent feels like. It's like, I did good. I did good. Alright, so that wasn't super hard, you know, and you get a nice reward. That's cool. So that means these event quests are good to do for new players, basically, because they're gonna be, you know, they're not dependent on collections or deck building. They just give you, you know, a pre-made deck. It's a bit of a challenge. You've got 7 attempts, basically. You've got those 7 tokens it gives you, and presumably you can. Ooh, here's a new stage. Oh, I see. So now we have the ability to, you know, basically play even more for more rewards. Oh, that's pretty cool. All right, so I actually kind of like this this sort of like quest campaign. The fact that it sets you up with a deck, it's pretty nice. Basically, it's just a good way to like get resources and new players. As far as like single player campaigns and card games go, it seems like a good system from what I've seen. Mostly, you know, card games are not known for having good single player campaigns, but you know, it's giving you different decks every time. It's a good way to, like, you know, learn some of the basics while, you know, getting resources. All right, so that's pretty cool. In my next video, I'll probably do some more of the quest mode. I actually really liked that, and I'll try to find one that is able to show off the 6th and final color, green. So you can try downloading Zenonzard now from the links in the pinned comment to participate in the ongoing July events, where you can earn up to 240 of the 500 cards for free. You can also check them out on socials, Twitter and Facebook using hashtag ZenonzardACI, and I'll be doing a few more videos for Zenonzard on this channel as well. I actually did one already that was kind of built around the idea of a more introductory version if you were a little bit kind of like lost or wanted a better intro explanation. That one's going to be linked in the pinned comment as well.